That's why I
It's not true.
Yes.
Oh
yeah. If you are you able to do it?
Because I've got a subscription and I
You get a free one and just keep getting them.
Okay.
I was having an issue before we started.
Check with the TS. The purpose is that it has to be deployed somewhere. If you're able to deploy it on Azure,
Do you really just like watching YouTube videos?
I would be fine. The purpose is it has to be deployed somewhere, and since we learn Heroku in the class, that's why it says Heroku.
I was like, that's like
Yes.
Spotify Premium.
Yeah.
They checkbox and you get
Really?
You get like special like playlists and like
Yeah,
all
it's
this
like,
stuff.
did you know that? If you have Spotify Premium, it comes with
Oh no, because I have family. That's why. Like I wish. You could do it with family.
Well, I'm sure you have cheaper on the family anyway. So you can check. I have Hulu. Everyone else's Hulu stuff anyway.
I know.
I don't even use my Hulu that I paid for. I use everyone else's.
Didn't Disney bought Heroku also?
What?
Disney bought Heroku also.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Hulu.
Hulu.
I'm seriously. I'm buzzing all of them.
Sorry.
Deploying my Disney app.
Disney apps, you know?
There will be two companies in the future, Google and Disney. That's it.
Disney owns everything though.
Everything.
I put like adult Marvel stuff on the Hulu,
Yeah.
like,
So-
and I'm gonna bundle all of them. ESPN Plus.
They're probably make it more expensive.
They'll make it cheaper if you get Disney, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. It'll probably be like $120 for all of them for a year.
I'll just use everyone else's.
Yeah. No, but I bet you that Disney is not gonna play that shit. I bet you they will crack down on not letting people log in. Disney needs their money. That mouse is about cash.
Someone's got to pay that. Someone's got to pay for that cost.
That's all I think.
And she's
Every time I see Disney growth,
and she's like,
it's feeling fuzzy. Yeah, I'm glad you get it.
So.
I'll have you know that in my high school choir, we did the push-ups, we did the Disney medley.
He's Mickey Mouse in real life.
They had
That's
a
the Mickey
random
Mouse.
piece of tile that was supposed to be from Mickey Mouse. One day, I did it for fun. And my Mickey Mouse voice. My choir teacher immediately after I finished the song, Blair, you're doing that on concert night.
Hold on, who was required?
Seriously?
Michigan.
He's like, I like the South Park place.
Says
Go with that one. That's Mickey. That's a smart teacher.
She got fired the next year.
Well,
I don't know. She got fired for something else though. Maybe it was partly that too though.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. Yeah. As fun as the conversations, we'll go ahead and get started with the class.
Oh, we're learning now. Okay.
All right.
Hey, we're learning now, everyone. It's time to learn.
All right. So, good evening. Any questions from the previous class, previous lecture?
Yeah.
What is it? What was it?
Can we just go through it one time real quick?
Did you guys actually go through it or not? I'm not going to go through it if you guys didn't go through it.
I looked at it and I tried, but
okay. So that's what all right. So that's what I'm asking. If you guys looked at it, what questions do you have from the previous exercise?
Let me open it.
Yes.
It was like the last thing that we did, the hashtag if, and then the thing with the
Partials.
with the carrot and
Uh-huh.
cats and that part. Can you
Okay.
go to that again?
So that's what I said. Those are partials. What partial means is that whatever you put in over here and that's the folder name and that's the actual file.
Mhm.
So it's going to go ahead and look for this thing and it's going to embed this page over here. So what else other than this? Like what is confusing? So this is what it does. It goes looks for this path in your folder structure. So there's a folder called cat, right? And then there's a handlebars called cat
There's a
dash.
file
Was
called
there a
cats.
folder called cat?
There's a
Yeah.
folder called cats.
Yeah. How do I know this better than you? Yes, there is a folder. So there's a folder called partials.
Heartburn.
Okay. Open the exercise. I don't even have this open, but I still remember. So there's a folder. There's a folder called partials, right? And then there's a folder called cat inside it. There has to be it.
Okay, yeah.
There is.
Yes, cats with the S.
Yeah, that's what I have. Okay, cats.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta be very
You said it. You said
Okay.
it plural, right?
We gotta be very particular.
Okay. Cats?
Plural, cats.
Okay. And then there's an actual handlebar file
Cat.
inside it, right?
Yeah, cat block.
Okay. So what did I say? Handlebars is kind of particular.
Oh,
So if you're adding partials folder, it knows where this file is, right? There's a views folder. Inside views, there's a layout folder, and then there's a partial folder.
Ah, okay. So
Okay.
that's just the
Yes.
folder
So if
file.
did you have to put it in its own folder?
Yes.
Or could you
Oh, no,
leave
no.
it inside the partials
Yeah, you can leave it
folder,
inside
and
the
then
folder.
You can omit the,
Yeah.
the file path
Right. You can do that.
as long as you keep the caret.
Yes. It doesn't matter. Since our folder structure was like this, that's what I'm going for. So it looks at the partials folder. Over here, it knows this caret thing. It has to load up partial. So it's going to look into that folder, and then you are mentioning the rest of the stuff. That there's a folder called cats. Within that, there's a handlebar file. Go ahead and show this partial. Yes.
Okay, so then, yeah, I understand that.
Okay.
So then, so then I see, right, on the index.handlebars then, where it's inserted there, and it says cat/cat block, and then sleep equals false.
Okay.
Right, so that's basically saying that, and it says, yeah, and above that it says hashtag if sleepy, right?
Okay.
And so it's saying if the cat block has a sleepy attribute.
No.
No. What? Yeah. What is the hashtag
This
sleepy?
line comes before, right?
Yeah,
It
what
hasn't
is that?
even reached there, so it doesn't even know about this sleep. Okay, but it knows sleepy. Where is sleepy coming from?
Right. Yeah. That's where is it coming from?
Go one line above. Do you see a each
Yeah,
loop?
It says each cat.
Right?
Okay,
Cats.
Yeah.
This is an array of objects. If you go back to the main file, is there a property called sleepy inside that? There has to be a property called sleepy,
Yeah,
inside your
sleepy part.
right?
Inside the
Right. So it's looping through your cats array, which is an array of objects, and within that object there is a property among other called sleepy. So it loops through, and then this is where the sleepy is coming from.
Okay.
Okay.
And so then it's saying, so then if that property exists,
If true, if
Yeah,
it is
if
true,
if it's true,
right? If sleepy,
Yeah.
this is a truthy or a falsy statement basically.
Okay.
So it is saying, and this is the boolean inside your cats array. So it is saying if this is true, okay.
okay, if that's true, then insert this cat block there
Mhm.
and set sleepy to false. Is that what
I'll come to this, but you
Okay.
understand this part?
Yes.
Okay, Blair, do you have what question do you have?
Kind of, it's so not the if block, but the other one above it that says unless. What particular?
Unless?
Yeah, what is-
So unless is the opposite of this. So if looks for a true statement, unless looks for a false statement.
So it's kind of like the not.
It's kind of like the not. But again, if anything over here is true, then this executes. Unless anything over here is false, then it executes.
That way you use the same attribute. And
Right. Because there's no like a not in the right. So that's why I use unless. Okay. Now coming back to this thing, sleep is equal to false. Okay. So you can pass some extra attributes to your partials, and you can have anything you want. So-
Data value.
This is just a random value. So you can have a boolean that you can pass in and use it. You can have a string. You can have a number. these are all things that you can pass in that do not exist in this object. Okay? So these are some extra. This is just showing you that at times we need to pass in some other data in our partial that does not exist anywhere. So this is how you pass it. So they're passing in a sleep is equal
Yeah,
to
so
something.
sleepy was different from sleep.
Exactly.
Okay.
So sleepy is part of the object, part of this object, and this is part of nothing. It's some attribute that you're passing in. So when you look at this file, the purpose is to show you that you can use some value that doesn't exist over there, and also some value that is being passed in inside that object.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Does it know? I mean, because
What else?
you're just associating that because you change the sleep true, sleep false, so it's just kind of knowing. Because where
What
are you
knows?
setting that?
What? Who? Okay. Which file are you
So
looking
the
at?
sleep false.
That's okay. But which file? Are you on the index handlebars?
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't know anything over here. You are setting it manually. You're kind of hard coding over here. Nobody knows anything. So this is the beginning of your sleep variable. It does not exist anywhere. So over here you are saying, hey, set this to false. You are setting it.
Oh.
It doesn't exist anywhere. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with anything. This is showing you that you can have extra variables that you can pass in, and you're giving some value to it.
And you're saying, yeah, that you can.
Right,
set
and
the
this
income
makes
stream.
more logical sense to you because this is the condition. At this point, you know you're passing in a variable that is saying sleep is equal to false, which is
Okay.
kind of opposite to sleepy. Sleepy means the cat is kind of falling sleepy, right? And then you're passing in a sleep is equal to true probably. Just the other way. Anyway, whatever this is this does not exist until this point.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay,
That makes sense.
Jeff, you had any more questions?
Oh wait, what?
Okay.
Because that's different. Like, you have less than, and it has like.
Oh,
greater
sorry.
than. Is that? Oh.
Okay.
So yeah, it's greater than, right?
Yeah, whatever the syntax is, but the intention is you're calling a partial over here. Okay. Now here's the other thing. In your main.handlebars, you can use partials, and you can create a partial called header, and then include that header over there, so you don't have to write any code. And then you can have your body tag or whatever. And at the bottom, you can also have another partial called footer. Kind of include that, and these two are handlebars that exist in your partial folder. Okay. Yes, Laura.
The each that's around it, the hashtag each.
Okay. What is it?
The hashtag each that's around it.
Mm-hmm.
I
What-
forget how that works.
It's just like your for loop
So
It loops through.
For each loop.
for each loop.
Okay.
So it's looping through that array, and so hash each cats. So just like your for each loop, so it is looping through your cats array, and it's an array of objects. And when it comes over here, so you have an object called cat available because it looped through it.
So it's just the for loop without the loop before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
For it's more closer to for each loop,
For
but
each
for
loop.
loop you get that it's looping through that array. That's the purpose of each.
Thank you.
Okay. Good questions. Kind of tells me somebody actually looked, because there's no way. If you had looked at these are the questions that I was expecting. I mean, it took me a while to understand handlebars, so that's why I'm not kind of saying that you guys are not smart, but it takes a time to understand this.
It's hard.
It's hard. So unless you have looked at it, these questions won't come out. Yes.
I'm sorry, I was a little late. So the each is a for each is a for loop, but then the hashtag unless is like if the statement unless sleeping.
So it's opposite of if. So
Okay.
how does if work?
If else, right?
If this condition is true, that's how if works, and then it executes the next lines. Okay. Unless is opposite. Unless if this is false, then it will execute these lines. So it's opposite of if.
Okay, so.
It's kind of tricky to understand, but this is what it is. These conditions are only executed when this condition is true,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
If you use unless, then this condition has to be false for these conditions to be. It's an opposite one because the not operator or the opposite operator does not exist in handlebars. So that's what it is.
Is there a reason why they have the greater than symbol in there?
That's just a syntax that they come up with.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the reason is, but that's the syntax that they come up. That's how they identify that this is a partial.
So, okay, question.
Yes.
So the only thing, I mean, I understand the syntax part of, okay, this is cats folder and then you're selecting the cats
Okay.
and handlebar file, but for the cats partial, like where is that getting inserted? And where does that?
This is where it is getting inserted. This is the insertion
So
code.
it's putting all of that, the code in there right there.
Yeah. This
Okay.
is the calling part. It exists in your when you see the directory structure. There's a cat dash block file.
Yeah, like block.handlebar.
This is handlebar. This is where you are creating it, and when you use a greater than sign, this is where you're calling that code. You are saying, hey, take
okay.
this and put it on this page.
Okay, because I was just confused a little because it has like an unordered list there, but then
Right. This is where you're defining. It has unordered list and all that stuff.
well,
Where
that
do
was
I
an
call
ordered list over there? But the one over there is an unordered list.
Over here?
It's on the index file. So
Okay.
It pulls in. the
Yeah, it
ordered
pulls
list.
in this code and puts
Okay.
it over there.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Oh, here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Any other questions? Yes, Matt.
I wasn't quite clear on how the router's functionality benefited us from compared to what we've done before for router.
Okay.
Express.router.
Right. So as I was saying, if you read the documentation, router they're saying is forms like a mini application, right? When we are doing our app.gets and all that stuff, we have to initialize. We have to say app is equal to express constructor and all that stuff. If you're using router, it kind of takes care of those configurations and kind of creates a mini app. And why it benefits us when you're trying to isolate your code, when you're trying to use module.exports, that's where it's beneficial to just use the router because you see there's no configuration, there's nothing. You just say express.router and start using a router.get, router. All those stuff. So basically behind the scenes, it's still using app.express and all that stuff, but kind of the library kind of handles all that stuff for us, the configuration. And basically if you're using router, they're saying they creates like a small application, like a standalone application that you can export out and import somewhere else and use it. That's the only purpose of that. And it's kind of more recent addition to help us with our importing and kind of isolating our code. It's kind of recent addition in more later parts of Express. Okay. Any other questions? So everybody clear on how partials are working?
No.
So what are the questions?
Just
That's
like, anytime.
okay.
Just
Okay. Again, I'm happy to answer. I'm happy to do or repeat something. But what I want is that you guys have actually looked at it. I like your answer. Okay, you need time. You need to go back. That's what I like. But what I don't appreciate is, just repeat the whole lecture. Again, I will. But I want commitment from you guys that you guys actually have gone back and seen, and then you want me to repeat. Right? Just
Half of
saying.
the lecture, at least. Half.
What is it?
Just half of the lecture.
Now, again, I will repeat it, but tell me you actually went back, put in effort, and then you actually looked at it, but you didn't understand.
Well, I
Right?
tried the activities and it's just like I can get parts of them working.
Okay, and you're asking question and I'm answering those. Those are good. But as I was saying, I'm happy to repeat. Trust me, I don't mind. The only thing what I mind is that you didn't go back, you didn't put in effort, and you come over here and you expect that just go over the lecture again. That's it's kind of not fair on my
wanted
part.
candy. That's why I asked for candy.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But you
All right.
just give us this rage, no candy.
All right. If no question, let's go ahead and get started. Week 15, last week before your project 2. All right. Week 16, 17 is project. So last week. All right. Before we begin, give you a heads up. We are going to look at ORM, but this time we are going to look at somebody else who has already built a library for us for ORM. It's called Sequelize. That's what we will be looking at. Okay. I'm going to take out the training wheels. You guys are actually going to figure out how to use Sequelize. All right? Yes. Yes. Now's the high point. You're on week 15. All right?
You can do
All
it.
right. Before we begin, we'll do some warm-up exercises. Let's start with the exercise 0, 0. Okay, remember the MVC architecture? I explained that MVC model view controller. Model is your database, data source stuff. View has to do with all your HTMLs. And your controller is the one that has your routes, express routes, and all that stuff. Okay, now looking at this diagram, which components do you guys think are part of the view? Let's start with the view first. Which of these are part of your view? Browser. Okay, so everything under browser. So what I'm asking is the files, which components. So add.html, views.html, all.html that are part of the view architecture. Is everybody?
Yes.
Does anybody has a different opinion?
No. They're
Okay.
all HTML.
Okay. What about your model? Which components, which individual components? Please just don't say server.js or database.
Database and then your ORM.
Okay, database, ORM. What else? Is that it? Connection. Okay, 3. Anything else? Oh no, I'm talking about this diagram over here on the screen. Just these. So I have database, I have connection, I have ORM. Anything else? What is it? Okay, is everybody in agreement? Right. So model comprises of our or anything to do with the data source. Okay. And the last part is controller. What part is part of the controller?
API routes.
API routes,
HTML routes.
HTML routes. Anything else?
Or
Post.
Get, post. Yeah, those are part of the routes. Let's say. Somebody said ORM. Who said ORM?
I did right.
So, why is
Isn't that part of the routes? I mean, that's setting up routes, isn't it?
so? What is ORM doing again? What's the
Object.
no? That's okay. Object relational mapper. But
Oh.
tell me the concept.
Oh, it's just like setting particular. Like you got your index, you got your setting pages, isn't it? Something.
ORM? No. What is ORM doing?
God,
What is it?
Check a library.
Library for what?
query.
Queries.
Oh yeah, there we go.
So queries is
Yeah.
database, which is part of. What is it part of?
Oh, yeah.
Part of models, right?
Oh.
Okay, so RM is, in my opinion, it's not part of controller. It's still part of models. And people said HTML routes, API routes. I agree with that. That those are part of your controller. Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. Any other questions? Everybody in agreement? How we divided it? Okay. So you guys kind of getting the hang of MVC architecture. I think there's one more file. Let's like take a look at it. Let's see if I can. Okay. Reggie, you were asking how the kind of pieces connect. Where the request is coming from, where the request is going. This is kind of same MVC architecture, but if you see from the view, right? View talks to the controller. Controller is in middle of view and model, right? Not view and model don't talk to each other ever. Okay, they go through the controller, and that's what the diagram is saying. So the view kind of talks to the controller. It's asking for the data, or it's asking. It calls an API and says, "Hey, I want this to come up," or "This, I want this JSON." Right? Controller then knows. Goes to the model kind of figures out, talks to our database, gets the data, and then sends it to our controller, and then controller sends all the data back to the view. Okay? Any questions on this, on the architecture? Okay, everybody in agreement? This is how the model view controller works? Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead. The next exercise is 0, 1 chirpy. So this is the similar to Twitter. Instead of tweeting, you are chirping. Okay. So I want you guys to take 15 minutes and complete this exercise. It is extremely familiar, same as what we have been doing in the previous class. Again, this exercise, there's no handlebars this week. None of those things, all right? So we are going back to our basic HTML because we want to focus on SQLize today. Okay, so we are going to pause on handlebars and all that stuff. So you don't have to worry about, let's open this and see. Handlebars, what you have to do is create a SQL database with all the columns, whatever they are mentioning, and then complete the server.js. Okay, you have to write all your routes. Doesn't look like you have to do anything over here. This is already completed in your app folder. Let's look at the routes and API routes. This is what you need to complete. So you need to come up with just 2 routes. A route that gets all the information from your database and a route that adds information to your database. Okay, 2 routes. So you have 15 minutes. Go ahead. It's similar to the exercise of warm up, the quotes one. You can look at the quotes one. You just need 2 routes. Looks like you already have the schema. Oh no, it's empty. So sorry. So you have to create the table. Again, I don't expect you to remember the syntax for MySQL, creating the tables and everything. You can go back and look at the previous exercise, look at the solved one, and just yeah, from any week where we are creating the database, right? You just look at the commands. It's create database. Well, that's already there. Create table is also there. You just need to add your column names over here. Okay, if you remember the syntax, good. If you're not, just look at how do you define the columns and just put your columns over it. The database creation at this point has to be really quick. All right, spend like 3-4 minutes and it should be done. I've seen a lot of people still spending a lot of time in creation because the important part is these routes. You need to know how to create these routes. So just 5 minutes in, I'm going to slack out the solution for schema.sql if you're not able to get that, because I don't want you spending a lot of time on this part. done created. Create 4 columns. Increment author and varchar 5. Let's do big. Let's see. Yeah. 20 characters. It's going to be my shirt. How many characters is Twitter? Is it still 141? To what? 280? Doubled it?
Let's go old school 140.
140. The last one is the time. Created, let's call it created at. It's going to be date, time. No. Okay. Starting on this. So I'm missing the primary key. Gonna fix that. Primary key ID. So then run. Database, access. Okay, that's better. Let's make sure. And there's my database with my table. ID, author, check. Okay. Yes. To where? Yeah, it kind of. I never read that, but it just shows you. I think how many. Yeah, shows you some like statistics that what happened. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Move on to creating your API routes after this, and then add data over there. Let's look at my package JSON. Oh, it doesn't have any dependencies or anything. Okay, so let's look at, so what do I need? I need Express. I'm pretty sure I need MySQL also. Just those two? Okay, so I'm going to install Express and then MySQL. Yeah, package JSON doesn't have all the dependencies. I just checked. Would have been nice. Your does? What? Why does mine doesn't have one? Oh, did I look it? It was? Okay. I will.
I'm trying to explain things. I'm not gonna question it. Alright.
Alright, so I'm going to install this again. Just with this one. Okay. Install. Okay. So I haven't made any change. I want to run this and may see what happens. Okay, so I'm getting an error. Let's go back and see what's the error. Access denied. So I need to update my config file. And there it is. So I need to update my local host, user, password, and my database, which I called JP. Okay. Let's go ahead and run this again. Okay, so this looks good. So my connection is updated. My code is running. Now I just need to put in my routes over here. Okay, everybody got to this point? We're able to run database. Okay, that's it. So I need 2 routes. I get all the chirps. So I already have my app, so it's going to be app.get. Okay, and then I have to add a chirp, so it's going to be app.post. Okay, everybody good with this?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm actually trying to write it.
Excellent. That's really good. Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, it's connected. I'm posting. Like what?
Oh, you guys are done already? Wow. Impressive.
Done was not the word.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm typing.
Okay.
Done here.
So keep doing. I'm just going to start with this one for people who are still working on this one. So I need a URL, and then I need my callback function as usual, which will take a request and a response. Okay. So I'm going to stub this one out as well. Function request response. Okay. All right. So I'm going to follow good practices, and I'm going to call my API. Let me say /API/chirps. Okay. And I'm going to call the same one over here, right? So differentiation is based on get or post. So those are my routes. And then I'm going to do my connection. I have my connection object over here, so I can use this connection dot query. Okay, my query, and then a callback function with the error and results. Okay. Same thing if there's any error. I'm going to console log this error, and then response with what are you guys sending back for error? Response dot what? Status 500. Oops. Dot and excellent. Okay. All right. So if there's any error, send that error, console log it, and send that back. Oops. All right. No error, successful. And we'll do something, but I need to complete this part. So let me say select star from chips. Okay. From chips. All right. Everything is good. Just return this response dot JSON and results. Okay. Everybody cool with this one? All right. Not too bad. All right. Next one, same thing. Connection dot query. Do a response. This time you are adding something to the database. Okay. So it's going to be similar. So I'm just going to copy this same format. This is going to change. Of course, I'm inserting, and then I have to insert something, so I need an array here. Okay. And I'm going to return something different, so I'll come back to this one. Okay, so let's complete the query. It's insert into chirps. Okay. And then what am I inserting? I'm inserting the author. Then I have a chirp. Okay. And then created at three things into values and then placeholders. Oops. Right. And then these are going to be passed in over here. So let's go to our HTML to see what am I actually getting, so I can match this. It should be in my jQuery code, right? Because when I click something, it should come up. So insert into. Oh, thank you. Let's go back here and look at this code. And the page API slash. Oh, I don't like this. Should be API slash chirps. Okay, so this is where the call will happen. API this comes here. That's all the data. So this route is good. Let's look at the post one. So I'm getting author, body, and created at. Okay, so it's a different name. So it should be request dot author. That's same. Chirp, they're calling it request dot bodies. Okay, that's coming from an HTML, and then request. Oh, that's not right. I made a mistake. You guys see what I did? Request dot should be created at, because that's what my HTML has. What am I doing wrong here? Excellent. Because this is coming in the body, so I'm missing the body part. Should be in body request.body.body. Okay. Everybody understands that. Why is it different over here? Because if I look at my jQuery, my HTML file, my front end file, from the front end, the code which is already there, they are passing these two values but with a different name. They're calling it author, body, and created as. So I'm being consistent. I'm going to use the same names that are coming to me. But this is different, so I'm going to update this to name it better. That's what my API route is. Okay. If I get an error, response this, otherwise you can return something or just return the successfully inserted row, or for now I'll just say successfully added to DB. Let's keep it simple. Okay, so that's how you create the two routes. Everybody good? All right, so let's go ahead and run this, and if I haven't made any big changes, we should be able to run this. Okay, so no errors over here. Let's go back to our web page. Localhost, and it is listening at 8080. So this shows up. No chirps because I haven't entered anything. So let's go ahead and see if this works. Okay, so I was able to insert and get also. Kind of takes your time. Shows up over here. All right, everybody good? Questions? Okay, was everybody able to complete both routes? Why? You tell me. Why do you have to do body.body? So where is the first body coming from? What kind of a route is this? What kind of a route is this? Like, but what kind? Is it a get or a post? It's a post. What happens when you do a post? What is the intention behind the post? You are doing what? Posting. What is that? Posting the information. What do you mean by posting the information?
That's put into the author of the body.
What am I doing in this route? What is the intention of this route? This line should tell you what are you doing here? Line number 30. Inserting the value. So you are saving it to the database. That's what post does. Okay? So the post route always goes ahead and creates a new row in your database. Okay? Okay. Now how do you send data in your post route? Like you want to create a record, and how do you send this? How do you send data in your post route? It goes in so there are two options. Either it can come in your params or it can come in the body. Which one does post does? The body. Okay, and so this body object is coming because you're passing data in your body. Okay, the second body, this one, where is this coming from? If you open your jQuery, okay, so that's where it is coming from. Yeah. So in my database, I have, or you must have called it chirps. If I was writing the front end code also, I would call this as chirp instead of body. It's kind of confusing anyway. All right. Any other questions? Everybody good? All right. So next is, now we are going to look at sequelize. Actually, you guys are going to look at sequelize. It's an interesting part. So in the next exercise, it says it's a quiz. It's not actually a quiz. Basically, what you have to do is you have to answer these questions. Okay. For this, Google the sequelize Node.js. Come on, here we go. Oh, it's completely empty. So you don't have to answer any questions.
Looks like we're not teaching ourselves to
Oh, good. All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to kind of force you guys to read this and understand sequelize on your own. So look at the documentation for sequelize. Here's what I'll do. I'll send the, is there a documentation link over here? Let's see. No. I'm pretty sure you guys can Google that too, but let me send you the documentation. Yeah. So this is the documentation. Look at the documentation and answer these questions. It takes 15 minutes. Work with your neighbor, pair up on these questions, okay, and then answer these questions. What is sequelize? What advantages does it offer? How do I install it? How do you incorporate it? What the heck is a sequelize model? And then this part kind of involves some coding. So look at how would you do this part. Okay. The last two are kind of even more advanced. If you get to it, it's fine. If not, that's okay. But until how would I model it in sequelize? Make sure, try to get to this point. So that's what you'll be looking at in the class today. Again, in this one, you can work with a partner, work with a neighbor, 2 or 3 groups. It might be difficult working alone. So work with somebody, not kind of divide and conquer. It might be easier to come up with these answers. So, I like Nick's instruction of how to find sequelize. Huh? Yeah, you should have just posted the link. Let me Google that for you. All right, what do you guys have? What is sequelize? Huh?
Is a comma-based Node.js ORM for Postgres, MySQL, MariaDB, SQLite, and Microsoft.
Give me a TLDR version. What
it
is?
features solid transactions, support relations, eager and lazy loading.
That's how I
Perfect.
felt.
Read, replication, and more.
I mean,
Simple.
I looked into what it does, and it looks like, I mean, it creates the models, you know, where it seems like you have to define a variable and then just kind of.
Right. Again, I'll stop you. You're getting in the coding part. We'll come to that. But what is sequelize? TLDR. I mean, he's right. Yes. But TLDR. What is sequelize?
It's a way of interacting and managing a database.
Pre-made ORM.
Pre-made ORM. Yes. Michael is right. Just short form is just a ORM. That's what it is. Remember what ORM is? It's a library of It's a library which has functions which access your MySQL or your SQL queries, I would say. Okay. ORM is somebody has already built. We saw ORM in our previous class. We were building ORM file, right? And behind ORM, our ORM, what did we have? We have all our SQL queries, right? So this time, Sequelize is a Node.js library, which is an ORM which somebody has built. But behind the scenes, Sequelize is doing the same thing. It has your SQL queries that it runs. It kind of isolates us from writing queries, right? But what does Sequelize do? It exposes functions. It's a library, right? If you look at it, the documentation, you must have come across some functions like find all, find one, create, right? What are those? If you had to take a guess just based on the name, what do you think find all is doing? Right, it's doing the select star. Right, exactly, that's what it is. Find one. What is find one doing if you... So find all gets select star from table name. What does find one would be doing? From where? Excellent, yeah. It's using a where clause. And it gives you just one record back. This gives you many records back, right? Create. It is inserting the row. And that is all Sequelize does. This is exactly what it is doing. So it is giving us these functions, and we just use it, and it does the insert query, it does select where, and then select all. There are two more, update and delete. It's not called delete, but you will see that in the next class. We'll focus on these three first. All right. So Sequelize is basically just an ORM. All right. It's a good ORM for Node.js app. Every language, different language, they have their own ORMs. Java has their ORM. C# has a different one. Once I got introduced to ORM, you know, I told you guys before, I hate writing SQL queries. I know some people over here, they're like, well, I studied SQL, kind of talks, I understand what it is. Maybe over my career, I have seen some really big SQL queries. It has traumatized me for life, so maybe that's why I hate. Right? These are simple queries, that is fine. But I've seen some really, really big queries, so that's why I'm like, I don't want it. So once I got introduced to ORM, that's what I do, and I really like using these things. Kind of isolates your code. It is sometimes it gets tricky when you have more than one tables. When you have 3, 4, 5 tables, creating a relationship. We'll come to that. But that's where it gets tricky, but it's possible. I have done it, and you can still do it using just SQL. You still don't have to write queries. In addition to that, SQLite still provides you, if you really want to write your own query, you can do it in SQLite. But that's not what we are going to look at. We are going to assume that there's no way to write queries in SQLite. So we are going to find a way how to use these functions for everything possible. Okay? So that's what SQLite is. Advantages, we already talked about. I already said what Sequelize does, kind of what are the advantages. Anything additional to add? What do you think is any other advantage of SQL? Geoffrey, you were mentioning that you write some code and it...
Well, it seems like it does certain things where it like sets the primary key for you. It does a lot of things that you don't have to do.
You can code and build them over again.
It uses query over and over again, so you don't have to write. Reusability.
Yeah.
Right. What Joffrey is saying, it's a good point. Did anybody realize? Okay, let's do the model first, and then I'll come
Yeah, 'cause
to.
that's where I read it in when I was looking at the model definition.
What is SQLized model? What did you guys come up with? What do you think it is? The SQLized model. What is it representing? A table. Excellent. SQLized model is representing your table. So you create a SQLized model. It will, when you run that code, it is going to take that code and generate a table for you in SQL. You don't have to write your create table, blah, 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 all queries. You create a model, you run your code, it's going to take that model and exactly create a replica, but it's going to run some SQL queries behind the scenes. It will create a table for you. Okay, so you don't even have to write any SQL queries. You just have to define your database though. All right, define your database. That's it, and tell SQLize that here's my database and here's my model. It will take that model and create a table for you in that database. That's what model does. Okay. That's the role that it plays. Kind of creates database for you. The next one, if you were able to look at the coding part, that's fine. Otherwise, we'll look at it. What did you guys find for if you just want to create a model? Did you find a code for that?
Yeah.
What does it start with? Yeah, creating a model. There's two ways. Excellent. There are two ways. Right. We are going to look at this one. Why? Because we don't know what class means, what it extends. We are not there yet. This is we are getting there. This is after project 2. This is the well, we are using new JavaScript version. This is added to that. Again, this is JavaScript trying to be something that is not. It's trying to copy things from other languages. Right. Behind the scene, this is just a function. I hate to hear, but anyway. Anyway, we'll look at this one because this is what makes more sense to us. Okay, so basically this is how you create a model. We will code this out. Okay, any basic questions before we move on? Look at the coding part. Everybody understand what SQLize is? Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you covered this, but wouldn't the dash save you get
Dash save is not required anymore. Dash save was required for the previous versions of npm. What it does is it takes a dependency and adds it to your package.json file. But now with the new versions, it automatically adds it to your dependencies. But previously it wouldn't, so we had that flag --- save. Okay. All right. So, okay. So you guys realize how do you install npm install SQLize? Okay. So here's what we are going to do. The previous activity that we completed, we're going to go back to that and then convert that app into using our SQLize. Instead of MySQL queries, we're going to go ahead and convert that into SQLize. And this is what I solved. Okay. Nico, did you post a solution for the previous one? Yeah. For the chirp exercise.
Yeah, it's perfect.
The solution. Okay. If you are not able to complete this, go ahead and take the solution, and then you can start from there. If you were, I'm going to use the one that I solved with you guys. So I'm going to convert the same one into using SQLize now. Okay. Everybody good? All right. So you guys can start on this one also if you guys kind of understood the documentation. Otherwise, I'll start on this one and you guys can see how do we convert this into our SQLize code. All right, so let's look at the documentation here. What do I need first? Let's go back up. I need to install. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. npm install SQLize. Then I also need, do I need MySQL too or not? Okay, you set up a connection and you define which one are we using. So we are using MySQL. There's a dependency somewhere else also. So just in case, install MySQL 2. Okay, just add this also. So this is required since so SQLize you saw has support for different databases. We are working with MySQL, so they require a driver basically to communicate with MySQL. So this is the package MySQL 2. That's what it's called. Okay. All right. So first of all, set up the connection, this thing, and then they have the example of this. We don't want this one, so let's go ahead and create the connection first. So where am I creating my connection? It's config connection over here. All right. I don't need all of this, so let's go ahead and let's see. Gone. And then copy that over. So I don't need any of those connection. I'm changing it to a new one. I have my SQL. I'm missing something. Okay, one of these things. Okay, I need MySQL. Okay. Okay, we'll update that. Okay, so I have my SQLize, require SQLize, and then go ahead and I'm going to export this instead of this so I can use it somewhere else. And that should be it. Okay. Database. So I'm going to create a new was it called Chirp or Chirpy? What was it called? Chirpy? Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new one so that you guys can see how it is being created. And what else do I need my username and my password is password. Okay, similar to how we establish a connection with MySQL from the syntax. Again, this is all boilerplate code. I just copy pasted from the documentation. But with our knowledge, we can kind of guess what's going on. It's making a database connection with your username, password to your local host, and we are telling that this is a MySQL database. Okay. Let's go ahead and delete all of these. I don't need these. Okay. And I'm calling this. So I just need to create a database. No table, nothing, just a database. Okay. So let's go ahead and create this database. Okay. Executing, finished, no errors, looks good. So I just created a new database. This is what I'm going to use. All right. So I converted my connection from MySQL to SQLize. Okay, everybody completed that? Okay, so let's look at what's the next part. So I have my connection set up, I installed it. Okay, we won't have to worry about this. Testing, I'll come to that. Now next we have to model our table. Okay, so it says create a table, use the SQLize.define table name, and then these are basically your columns. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our model. My routes public, so I'm going to create a folder called models. That's where my models are going to reside. File drip.js. Okay. All right. The first thing I need is sequelize. So let's go ahead and create sequelize require sequelize. Okay, I need this to create my model because that's the object and this is the function inside the library. So we'll go ahead and call this. And then I also need my connection. Let's call this lowercase sequelize. And then how do I get my connection? This is the one that I built over here in my config. Okay. Config / connection. Okay. Everybody understand what happened? First one, I'm initializing the sequelize. We'll see what methods we need to use. The second one, my connection is in my config folder. That's what I'm getting at. So lowercase and uppercase. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and create our model. Const user. So I'm going to call it const chirp. Okay. And we need to call the method sequelize.define. Sequelize, the lowercase one where the connection has been made, dot define. Ooh, oh, that's nice. Look at that. Is this the right one? It doesn't look right. You know what? I think this is something. No. Define JavaScript basic module. No, I don't know what it is. Because I just need to pass a name and an object. That's all it says. Okay. So I need to pass a name of my table, and then object with all the column names and all those things. Okay. So let's go ahead and call it chirp like before, and my second object has my column names and all that stuff. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and start. So what did we call our, let's look at here. How do I define my ID?
It does it for you.
Excellent. You guys are reading the documentation actually. Yes. So you see the last paragraph over here? Sequelize already creates an ID. It calls it ID and it makes it primary key for you. So you don't have to do it. And then in addition to that, it has two more columns created at and updated at.
Also, if you ever update it, it'll always update that.
It will always do it for you.
Oh,
yes.
That's cool. So it'll always say when you created it.
Exactly. Yeah. So it has that. Again, if you are not happy with this, if you see on the top one, they say that you can change this behavior. Check the API reference. So you guys can look it up and see how to change those. But we'll go with the default one because that's what we are using anyway. Okay, so I don't need to define ID. I just need to define my author and my chirp. Okay, so I say author and object. Okay, so author and an object. Okay, and then chirp, and that is also an object. Okay, so these are my two columns in my database. All right, so author, let's go back and see. So you can define what type it is, allow null or not. So we'll use these two properties as well. Type is sequelize the uppercase one, okay, dot string, and then allow null is equal to false. Okay, this is same as over here too. Okay, and the last thing is I need to synchronize my model. So what does it mean synchronizing? It means that it will go ahead and create basically the tables for you in your database. Okay, so that part is important, and it is chirp.sync. It has some parameters, but we will start with the basic one. It has a empty function, empty parameter function, so we'll use this one first. All right. What it will do again, it will take the model and create a table called chirp. Any idea what that table will be called in your database? Ooh, who said that? Chaz. Say that again. Did you hear that? See that? So by default in this condition, whatever name you give over here, it's going to take the name and add an S and then create a table.
So it made our chirps table for us. Amazing.
Right. But if you don't want this to be, you want to keep it the same name that you are giving, then you can use that property that Ches is mentioning. Ches, do you know what that property is? What was it? No, it's not plural off. Good guess. Yeah, yeah. Well, as soon as you said plural, I was like, okay, that's not. It's over here somewhere. They said freeze table. I think I saw. Where is it? Let's go back up. Let's look at model definition. Model definition. Timestamps. Model usage. Oh, it should be model definition. All right. Define these database apart from this. Timestamps. The comment option can be used on model configuration. I just read it somewhere. Where did it go? Yeah, but I read that somewhere over here. Now I can find it. Did you find it? What is it? Freeze table? It's a right, and it's a separate object, right? Oh, separate object. It's called a freeze table. Name camel case, right? Yeah. And true. Okay. So this way, this will stop you from creating an I'm on the wrong place. Should be after this. Okay, so it's a property. This is defining these columns, and then those are the options. Okay, again, this is a little bit advanced. You don't have to worry about the freeze table one, but this is how you do it. Okay, so I think that should do it. Let's go back and see what else do I need. Anything else? Huh? When it was deleted? Oh yeah. All right, so let's go back to our APIs now, because we need to change our routes. Okay, since we are using SQLize, we don't need the app.get and all that stuff. So did I export that model? I did. Okay, so let's go back to our routes. And so for the select all, we are going to use find all. Okay, and then create these two. So what do I need here? So let's go ahead and import our do I need this anymore? Nope. Instead I need my chirp thing. So let's import our model chirp require // model / chirp. Okay. Now this is all good, but I don't need this connection thing at all. So I'm going to remove this. Okay. Oh, what did I delete? All right. Function is chirp dot find all. Okay. And then what else is after find all? What is after find all? Dot then. Everybody understand what dot then is doing? It's the same callback callback concept. Okay. Instead of that, they are using dot then. Basically, it's the same thing. Once this is complete, you're going to put all your code that you want to get executed in this dot then function. Okay. Dot then takes a callback function, same as our previous ones, and this will have results. Okay. Find all. We're not passing anything, so pass in an empty object. And then we're going to assume this is all good, and then we'll just pass in our results back. Come on. Seriously, no help? Oh, there you go. Okay, all right. So I'm using the find all function. Look at the documentation. Yeah, we can pass few things, but we won't worry about those options. Right now, I'm just passing an empty object. I don't want to do anything. Just do a select all from my table and kind of give me everything back. Yes?
Sorry, why were you able to get rid of the connection at the top of the page?
Why was I able to get the connection on the top?
Like, you deleted that. You were like, I don't need that anymore. Why don't you need that anymore?
Am I making a connection over here? Right.
Okay.
So I'm not making a connection over here. Forget about this. I didn't do this. Right? Where do I need my connection? I need in my chirp model, right? So this is why I'm making my connection over here.
Okay.
So this is why. So kind of isolating that code. I don't need that connection over here anymore. If I was using MySQL, then yes, I need my connection over here. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and complete the next one too, and then cross our fingers and run this and see if this works. All right. So next one is chirp.create. Okay. Same thing, right? Dot then function. It will have results. We are not interested in results for now, so I'm just going to say response.end, and it will show up on our page. Okay. All right. What do I need to pass in here? Author. And how do I get author? Request.body dot author, and then chirp request dot body dot body. Okay, same as previous one. Okay, so these are my model, author, chirp. These are coming from my API. All right. All right, any questions? Everybody following through, understanding what's going on? All right, did anybody run this by any chance and see if it works?
Can you look at the connection page again?
Which page?
The connection.js.
Connection.js, okay.
Okay, so root number. So, okay, so just choose MySQL.
Yeah, MySQL, because you're working with MySQL. Okay, any other questions? Okay. Go back to the routes. Hold on, let me bring this here. So this is my SQLized chirpy, tables are empty. Okay. Routes. Okay, two functions, find all and create. Create takes in an object, which basically you're getting what you're trying to create. Insert. Okay, 2 columns. Insert that. All right, let's go ahead and run this. Oh no. Andrew, I trusted you with allow now. Oh, that was it. All right, allow no false. What did I do wrong with it? Yeah, that's what I did. It doesn't like allow no. Let's go back to our.
Oh, you got people. Yeah.
Ah. Thank you. Okay. All right, let's try this again. All right. Oh, do you see this? Sequelize is nice. It will print the query that it ran. You see the query? Create table if not exists, chirp, ID, blah, blah, blah. It actually ran that query, ran our model. And if you go back, refresh our database, there is our table. With all the ID, author, chirp, created at, and updated at. See that? Okay. I should be able to create it at. The only thing is, am I adding create? No, I'm not. So it should be okay. What is it? Chirp needs to be body. Which line? I mean, back in my trip.js. No. So model is these are my column names in my database. Okay. So. Oh yeah. So remember what I was saying? It might say body, but I don't like the word body. It doesn't. It's kind of confusing. But this is actually what my table in my column means. So I kind of changed it up so that it makes more sense. Huh? Oh no. Good question. I just want to clarify. Yeah, in activity they are calling it body. Even the routes are /new and /all. No, not acceptable. No. Yeah. That's my backend thing. Like not. All right, there we go. So shows up fine. Let's go ahead and insert something. Let's see if this works. Oh, it worked. All right.
So sorry, Daniel. The message that we got saying that it was created from Sequelize, that means that everything's running correctly.
Yes, this means it's running. So it actually ran. And why? Why do you see this message? Because remember, I created our models, and we are importing this model on the top. So it goes ahead, it creates that. When I run my server.js, the first line gets executed is, where am I looking? My server.js. Oh, in my API routes, when I come over here, it says call this function, call this file. And in this file, I'm creating it and syncing it. This is what creates this query.
So that'll happen every single time you use Sequelize?
Every single time, yeah. Well, when you stop your server and you run it again, try it. If it deletes it, there's a way you can stop this. So basically what you are saying, if I run this again, what's going to happen?
I'm just saying in general, like, yeah, if you run it again, if it does it again, or if every time you create one. Yeah, I'm just saying it's a good thing that happens, because when I initially did it and ran it, I was like, oh, I thought it was an
So
error.
what do you think? Is it recreating the table? And just look at the query. What's the query?
No, I don't think it's recreating it.
Right.
It's saying because we have the if it exists, then delete, right?
Yeah.
So that's that. Yeah, I guess it was just making sure that is supposed to happen every single time that you have the server running. Basically.
Right. And remember, your server is going to run only once. Right now, we are doing activity running multiple times. Once you deploy it, you run it, and it's running forever. So this only happens basically one time when your server starts. In your production, you don't want your server restarting every time, right? I mean, unless there's a bug and then you restart it. But usually, this will only run once, and it will create these tables, and everything should be good.
Okay, let's refresh this, make sure all our data is there, everything is good. Okay, questions? All right, let's take a break. 8:15. You guys are going to create the next, actually 2 apps, and then we'll see.
Hey, can you show the API routes page?
No. Messing around.
That's what we're working. How far it goes in. API? Okay.
It's telling me, like, throw new error, please install module name package manually, everything installed. MySQL.
Did you install
So it's
MySQL
in
too?
manually, so you're actually going to have to go to the NPM marketplace yourself, get the packages,
Don't.
I
and
don't want to do that.
Did you install
get a
MySQL
floppy
too?
disk.
Oh,
actually.
MySQL too.
Did you install that?
No, they're telling me that. I thought.
That's why you don't listen to me when I'm talking.
I mean,
That's
also,
the first thing I
you gotta
said.
go get that floppy disk.
Yeah.
And then you gotta, like, find, like, 3 different
No, I
adapters.
shouldn't have stopped Michael
Dongle.
saying anything and just like continue him and
Boom.
Yeah, just,
Okay.
I'll let you know.
I don't want to
We'll
go
get
to
there.
that marketplace, man. It's a shady place. Floppy disks.
You got floppy disks. How shady can it be?
That's totally reminds me. Have you seen Silicon Valley, the show?
Oh yeah.
No, I haven't.
Really? Dude,
It's a
it's so
great
good.
show.
Oh
No,
man.
the floppy disk.
That should be a requirement of entering the
I know,
class.
right? No, the.
I mean, we should just have one night where we just watch Silicon Valley.
We
That
should.
truly was an inspiration, like seeing that, because it was like, it was more what in line of what I wanted to do. Because like now it's like doing marketing and like dealing with.
Hold on, I need to hear that.
Oh no,
Hold on.
I was just gonna say, since you said floppy disk, I immediately thought, remember Ehrlich was wearing a shirt, had a picture of a floppy disk and it said never forget?
Yeah.
Never forget.
Man, they kind of erased that character like so badly.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean,
Burned those bridges. They burned them
Yeah,
out of the show.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
never mention them again.
Oh my god, and the way they said he died and the pig and all
Yeah, I was like,
oh my God.
whoa, that's hardcore.
Yeah.
yeah,
You don't
no,
like
I,
that guy.
I don't know. Like I read about him. A lot of what was said is just rumors.
Oh really?
No
People
idea
just
what
say
it was.
stuff, you know. Like, people say whatever. But he did drink a lot. I know that's true. Because I know people could go to his comedy shows and be like, hit or miss. Before he got sick, it's funny, but like,
Yeah.
really, really fucking drunk.
Well, I mean, who is it? Do you know who Doug Stanhope is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude is like
drunk now.
100% alcoholic.
I never knew that. Well, that's the true functioning of
Some of what he says is funny, but I mean, I personally don't like him. But I guarantee you, every comedian in existence probably drinks like a heavy amount.
Yeah.
Because they're all terribly depressed on the
Yeah.
inside. That's why they're all so funny. It's good. It's a coping mechanism. They're all terribly, terribly depressed.
Baby sad.
That
Okay, I
dude's
got
a
this
good
big
alcohol.
thing. Look at that.
Yeah, what was the what is it?
It's big red. Unhandled rejection. Oh, alright. My password's wrong. There you go.
See, you could have just looked at yourself and
You could have just gone to the marketplace. You would have been able to talk to Shady Steve. He would have been able to let you know what's going on with your code. Yeah, just stick it in. Well, no, you got to get a couple of dongles. And then once you connect all the dongles, once you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so in order for you to get enough dongles, you have to go to Dongle Town.
Okay. Oh.
So that's the only place that has enough dongles for you to connect your floppy disk up to your laptop. No, it's Dongle Dan. You gotta talk to. If Dongle Pete, you're right. You don't want to go meet him. It's Dongle Dan you want to go meet up with. He's got the goods.
Trustworthy. Double D. Trust Double D. I do.
Yeah, what was that marketing link that you posted? I didn't understand.
Nah, because it's just fucking documentation. It just follows me everywhere. Like it's freaking Google API doc for their like hotel ads where they have a special push request, so it's like push with hints. I'm like, I don't even know what this is. Why do you make it so confusing, Google? It just push. So yeah, like our developers were saying that we had to set up 3 separate accounts because of that. Like it's push with hint, and then one's push, and then the other one is push with something else. So we have 3 separate feeds, and they have to have 3 accounts just because of how the data's talking. It's really more confusing than it needs to be. Like Google's stupid.
Yeah, Google does have a lot of documentation.
It's not just Google though. Like,
Yeah.
you'll learn very quickly that anytime auditing is concerned, as a developer, it's like an absolute nightmare sometimes. It really is.
And it's everywhere, because I went from the Google Docs on hotels strictly into the Microsoft, because then they have all this other API documentation on their hotels. And I'm like, you can't even get into the program. Why is this docs even live? Because I'm like, it says you can get into it, and Bing is just, they make too much money, and they don't really know how to market their products well. And every time you call them, there's a guy in Florida who's like, I'll talk to you for like 3 hours because I have nothing else to do. And it's really sad for that.
Speaking of which, Microsoft has released all of their React training documents. They've for free, yeah. They've just published it online, just out there.
And then everything's in GitHub.
Well, Microsoft owns GitHub, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
And
Microsoft
they
is
made the
actually
private
a big
repositories
contributor.
free.
Yeah.
yeah.
They made them free.
It used to be like you only could have one.
Yeah. I thought you couldn't even have one. You have to pay for the private one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to pay for it.
GitHub.
Oh yeah, they
They-
Pretty penny too.
And because they were the number 1 contributors, on GitHub.
because VS Code,
Yeah.
VS Code, open source.
Facebook open source. Oh, sorry, React.
Yeah.
They have the React code over there. That's like number 1 or number 2 on GitHub.
That's nuts.
I think .NET is open source now too.
Right.
Yeah,
Visual
Microsoft
Studio,
is just
they-
opening up
that
everything.
they're
Like, have you seen
well,
the
he's not a new
new?
CEO anymore, but he did a 180 degree, and Microsoft used to be house closed,
Oh yeah,
but they
everything's so
wouldn't.
proprietary.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, it's the new CEO. Once they got rid of Bomber, they got.
Yeah,
they
that's
got-
what I'm
what's his
saying.
name?
That guy, Satya.
He's smart.
Yes,
Satya.
he's such a good guy. Like, and then have you seen the new terminal for Windows? Like they built a terminal app that just has Linux underlying. They've got like WS. It's called like WSL. It's just like the Windows subsystem Linux or something it stands for.
Yep.
And then they've got with Bash built into the operating system, so you don't need like it's just there.
Yeah. Well, no, it's good that they started making everything open source because their whole company's business model is changing because they're pretty much like every big company is now kind of leaning towards the same business model. Everything is service based now. Microsoft Office is now 365. Right? So instead of paying $300 for Office, now you pay $9.99, which is awesome. I mean, granted, however long it takes you to pay $300 for Office 365 is, I guess, depends on how long you use it, but
They get more people buy more products because they're a la carte. So like in the long run.
Unless you're Adobe.
on here. So
They suck.
Well, you still have to pay for Visual Studio. Like if you do Visual Studio Enterprise, that is expensive.
Is it what's different from that to this?
Isn't it a full system?
Community Edition is really just for like single developer, whereas Enterprise Edition is for like huge team of developers. So it has all these extra bells and whistles that like Visual Studio, like Community Edition is not.
For streamlining
Honestly, I've never used Enterprise Edition, so I'm not really sure. But I have never used Visual Studio to the point where I tried to do something and it wouldn't let me because I didn't pay for it. So there's so many features in Visual Studio. It's like it is such a massive application. It's not
and why is that? I guess Enterprise
somebody wants to pay for it. I'll use it.
how much does it cost?
If you have asked, you can't afford it. That's why you gotta go talk to them.
Visual Studio Code.
I want to add hey, so Nick, quick, you have a second? I want to show you something. Sure. What's the example? I want to show you. Sent out.
Oh, that's
Come
the
here, I want to show you
show.
something.
Oh, no.
That's the solve.
Well, it wasn't really an activity. It was
No, it solves issues on his computer.
Yeah, it is.
So it's similar. It's not exactly what we just get like.
Yep, so he was having issues with,
I'm
and
looking at like some
okay, so here's what you gotta do, you gotta say you have to manual instance, you can't actually use npm install or any of that.
That's when you
actually have to go physically to the node house and you're going to have to get it flagged, and it's going to have
But then again, there are
Do you wanna know how the arguments are started? You have to set tapes for meetings.
It's just a.
I'm like,
I think it's like a timeout.
you can't put this in a warrant, it doesn't work.
That's where this
It's not
resource.
fucking plastic here.
It's just like you play,
Well, it takes the
it's like no shoe would basically just utilize the factor to be nobody's user.
It's as if like it's as if you were parts and you just smash the pedal on the gas. You're just revving higher and for whatever reason you want.
He's actually got to beat up.
So we had to
Computer obviously doesn't have drive.
we're not close.
So he's then going to have to
Well, so they only stay open.
So they do kind of on their own.
Yeah, they eventually time out. But so for the old connections, we're going to go differently than just like.
He's like, I don't want to go down the test. Now, go talk to John Lopez. No, that's right. Don't go down to John Lopez. Go talk to John Lopez.
Yeah, like connections and stuff like that in SQL is kind of a whole other stuff.
He came back, so like, we didn't go talk to him. Yeah. You gotta get the CD. That's AOL.
My mom's
Record.
Oh, the emails.
I felt bad because until just last year, I paid AOL for like free email
Until I
Yeah, that's how we find it.
Return all of the money.
my whole life.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Next activity. All right, so this one is similar in setup as the previous one. Remember, I used the one with the MySQL thing. It stripped everything out and put in SQLize. So the unsolved version for this activity is using MySQL, the SQL query. So you need to go look at it, change all of this. It's actually using ORM. So the ORM that is custom to us is, let's suppose we have built it. So you need to go and take out these ORM things and put in SQLize in. That's what the purpose of this exercise is. Okay. So install SQLize MySQL packages. Look at how the code is defined. Strip out the ORM part because we are going to use SQLize for it. Okay. Same thing. Remember, I did a connection, created my models folder, created a database. Go ahead and do all of this in this exercise. So we are replacing this version with our SQLize instead. All right. Any questions? Everybody get the idea what we have to do for this one? So basically, convert this app into SQLize. Ooh, wow.
There it is.
That is my Slack shouting. Looks like they fixed the sound, but not the TV. I know, that's what my favorite. You gonna get what?
No cards.
What card? Oh. We don't have TVs over here.
I know,
That's what I noticed. We don't have cards. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. What happened? Remember in our connection we are using a dialect and we are mentioning MySQL over there in the dialect. In our connection, in the connection, in the SQLize, remember, they're saying you can use one of the dialects. That's what they're calling. If you go back up, the code that I copied from here, this thing, dialect, right? So if you're using MySQL, so basically you have to install a driver so that your SQLize can connect to MySQL, and it's called MySQL. That's what. That's why. MySQL 2 has the capability to talk to SQLize and do it. Just MySQL is for writing queries. Again with these API names, new characters.
Yes, so MySQL is the new package that knows how to talk to SQL. That's what you don't need MySQL.
We don't use it.
Oh, no, no.
Okay, so here's the,
Yeah, you can
that
talk
one
to
wants to go
MySQL.
and do that, and I was like, oh, wait, that's
You
the
have to
same.
have that so you need to say a new entry, looking up.
Yeah, you don't need no, not that one. SQL is taking place of MySQL query. So you need MySQL for the query. Right? Go back to your code, so the line the file is required if you're writing queries in it. So that is that start from this. Yeah, that's it. So you don't need MySQL anywhere in the code. You don't have to do a required. You don't have to import MySQL anywhere in the code. That's what we are trying to get away. SQL is the one that will take care of it. MySQL package is there, it's embedded in SQL, we are using it somehow. So you don't have to import MySQL. Yes. No, that is required. Because that's part of the SQL. It is confusing because we are trying to convert a MySQL app into SQL app. So you see the references, you're trying to that's why it's confusing. But once we start typing the next exercise, it might be more clear. But as we were saying, we need a SQLize, but that's the real SQL. And the dialect is, remember look at the documentation, they have different options for the dialect. You have MySQL, Microsoft SQL, MariaDB. So basically what SQLize is, you connect with all these kinds of databases. For our case, we use MySQL base, to connect to a database, we could use it. That's what it is.
So if you're converting this to SQLize, the easiest one is you don't need ORM at all. So that goes first. It's gone. Don't need ORM. Delete the whole thing. I don't need it. I don't care about that. If I run this right now, it's going to give me an error because there are references. I need to go and fix it. But the easiest is I don't need ORM. Delete it. And the next easiest one is the connection. This is all MySQL connection. I don't need any of this code. So you created a connection from the previous exercise, just copy that code over and change the database names. So where's my connection? Right, this is what I had. Connection goes. I bring in the new SQLize connection from my previous exercise. Okay, this is going to change. Let's see what database name we have in our schema.sql. Database called Star Wars. I'm going to call the same thing over here. And my connection file is also done. Right, those were the two easiest ones. Delete ORM, update your connection.js to use your SQLize. What is it? Table stuff is in the models folder. You have to create a model. Connection is just connection. Yeah. So I was trying to do the easiest one first. So deleted ORM, update connection.js, and this part is done. Server.js, I took a look at it. Doesn't look like any changes over here, so you don't have to worry about server.js also. It's good. It's starting Express server, and that's what we want, so no changes in this file. I still haven't installed MySQL 2 and SQLize, so let me just do that before I forget. Npm install SQLize. And then npm install MySQL. Okay. That part is done. My config is there, and I need to worry about my model. So I'll just create a models folder, and then we are calling it Star Wars. Let's look at I'm going to look at my schema and see what they're calling. Okay, so they're creating a table called all characters. All characters, what kind of a table name is that? So you're going to see this solution in your GitLab, but I'm changing this up for the class. I'm going to call it a character. Okay, so now I'm creating my models file. Looking back at the previous exercise, we need our SQLize, import SQLize connection and the actual package, and then create your character. So since we know the new keywords, I'm going to use const require SQLize. Okay, and then I need to copy my connection. This is my two imports, right? From the previous exercise, again, the one that we already solved. So I'm importing those two. And then I'm going to create my character. Const character is equal to SQLize dot define. Excellent. First is the table name. The second is an object with column names. So I'm going to call it character instead of all characters. Yeah. I don't even want to see the routes. What are they calling the routes? Probably bad. New. Oh. Characters is fine. Yeah, that's how it should be. Right. Let's look at the SQL file for inspiration to see what columns we need. ID, don't need ID. Route name, row, age, force points. Route name. Route name. Type is SQLize string. Okay. Not null, null. What is it? Not null. Allow null colon false. Okay. That's my route name. The next one is name. I'm just going to copy this. This is name. Next one is row. Same thing. It's a string. Not null. So I'm going to call it row. Next is age and force. Age is integer. Okay. Let's call it age. What's the option in SQL is integer? Oh, there it is. Allow null false. Yeah, not null. Not everything is not null. Okay. And the last one is force points. Let's copy this. Force point, integer, and this is it. And then I use the freeze table, so I'm going to add that over here. So I don't want this to be plural. Freeze table name true. Let's go ahead and format that. Formatting. No. Everybody done?
Well, that thing at the bottom that you did, where you just added the, yeah, like, so, did you close? Oh, you closed it.
It's not part of the. This is part of your table definition. The columns. This is the property that exists outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Exactly. If you were looking at the documentation, Geoffrey, you would have. As Blair pointed out.
You know what? How dare you? Wait, okay, scroll up really quick there.
Scroll up to what?
Scroll up to the top so you can see. Oh, okay, so you just have that in the top.
Okay. Last thing I need to do is sync. So character dot sync, and then export this module dot exports character. Okay. So my model is done. Alright, so model is done. I deleted that. Let's go to my SQL file. I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to remove that. I don't need this. I just need to create my database. So my SQL, my schema just becomes this. Okay. We'll go ahead and run this in a bit. Config is done. Models is done. Now let's go to our routes. Oh man, look at this route. It's slash characters. I thought it was characters and then. Okay. So again, you don't have to update the names. You can work with what's over here, but I can't work with this. So my APIs should be characters, and then I'm passing in a character. Right, that makes more sense. That there's my API is characters plural now, and then what am I passing? I'm giving a particular character which returns me details about that character. I'm not sure why it's called characters. Or does it return all of them? No, it doesn't. It can if this is the option. So how do you do option? If you put a question mark, this becomes optional. So this will work. Basically, the API, you have combined two APIs together. /API /API /characters, this one, and /API /character. Okay, so both of these have been combined into one. So if you pass in a character, it's going to call this API. If you don't pass, it's just going to return all of them. Okay, that's what's going on there. Oh yeah, I didn't put anything, so this has to go away, and I need to import my character. Thank you. So constant character require, and then I'm going to require my model /character. Okay. Let me go ahead and fix this one. Again, you don't have to do this. I cannot stand this. All right, so now my APIs look good. It's characters and characters, post and div. All right, all of this thing, let's see, ORM stuff. No, don't need this. This goes away. ORM stuff, don't need this. All of this goes away. Okay, I do need the else, but I don't need the ORM stuff. All right, so this is going to be character dot. If I pass in characters, then which one am I using? Finds one, excellent. Is it finds or find? Find one. All right, stub this out, dot then, finish this. This is easy, so dot then returns the callback function, results, and rest dot this is equal to rest, yeah, rest dot JSON results, and that's it. Okay. I need to pass an object, so let's go ahead and complete that a bit. Let me kind of format it so it looks better. Okay, that's right. So character dot find one, then returns the root. So I need to fill this one up. And anybody got to this part? What do I put in? Excellent. Where it's a object, excellent. And then what am I looking for? I don't have I didn't put title in any. Where's title? It's route name. Route name or name?
Route name.
Route name. Okay. That's so weird. I don't like the names. Anyway, let's do route name. And then request dot. It's going to come in the params, right? And then it's called character. Okay. So you guys are reading the documentation. All right. Next one is find all. Find all. Yes. Character dot find all dot then. Okay. Step this part out. Let's copy this. It's going to be the same as this one. Okay. Find all takes a object empty. I'm not passing anything. So finds it. That's okay. That should be it, right? Find all, return all the results. Yeah. Return. Return. Okay, everybody get the first one? No? Maybe?
Most stuff.
Most stuff, okay. Most is good. All right, let's go ahead and complete the last one. This is good. Don't need the one and stuff, so I'm going to remove that. We'll keep this one and see what it is. So character dot create, right, and then dot then. Okay. Let's copy the same then. Let's just return status of 200. Keep it simple. 200. Okay. In this one, I need to pass in an object with all that stuff. Okay. So request.body line number 45, storing the character. So I need my route name. This route name. Let's assign character dot name for now. Name is character dot name. Row is character dot row. Age is character dot age. Force points is character dot force points. Okay, this route name. What is happening is if you eventually what you have to do is, and just kind of look it up how to do that. So if you pass in a character name, let's suppose Iron Space Man, what they're saying is whatever the name is, uh, take the space out and combine it into lowercase and make this as a route. That's what the purpose is. But for now, keeping it simple, we'll just assign the name and we won't put any space over here so that it becomes a route also. Let's make it lowercase dot to lowercase. Okay. That should be it. Okay. Since I modified these many things, I need to go and fix my JavaScript. Button.add. Let's see. This thing should be characters. Okay. That should be good. Update my API. If you didn't, then you don't have to do anything with your JavaScript file. I am doing this because I updated my API name. So get characters, and they should give all the characters. Okay. Let's look at this one. This is API / characters, and then search character. What was it before? Did this have a slash or was it not there? I can't remember. It has one? Okay, so characters, and then I need to add a slash. Okay, and then it comes over here. And that should be it. Alright, let's go ahead and run my SQL database, create a database. Okay, MySQL finished. So I have my database created with no tables, and I'm going to run this app, and you should go ahead and create one. Cannot find module express. No, I didn't install it. It says cannot find express. Oh, I should have removed MySQL. Remove MySQL. All right, that's better. Okay, so table created, looks good. Go to port 8080, and we should see our app. And there is our app. Okay. Let's search your feelings. Add a new character. So I'm going to make row. You guys are fast at picking up the typos. If you were fast at reading the documentation instead, that would be.
Well, maybe if they made typos in the documentation.
Yeah. Alright, so there's my character, it shows up. Alright, everybody got this? Understand what's going on? Good? Questions? You didn't get it or no questions? Okay, yeah. All right. Let's do the next one. All right. In the next exercise, you guys are going to create from scratch. This one was converting a current SQL app into a SQLize. The next one is you have to build completely the SQLize app. Okay. So you have to come up with the models. You have to think about what you are going to call them. Let's open this and look at this one. This is called SQLize library. All right, so why is it so slow? Oh. So this time, you see you have minimum code while your models are created. Is that true? Oh no. Good. Yeah. I was like, what? Everything is done? All right, so you have the folder created, same folder structure as SQLize. So go ahead and create your, check your config first. Is this correct? Let's go back and see. Yeah, looks like you don't have to update unless you have to update your password. Okay, so connection is done for you. You have to create your models. And let's check our routes. Yeah, API all. Oh wow, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 routes. Again, they look kind of scary, but these are all. Here's all right. Let's see. Ooh. All right, the first route. For the first one, what's the function that you're going to use? Which SQLite function? Get all? There's no get all. What about the second one? Find one, and you're going to pass in book. Okay. What about the third one?
All the books.
No, third one. Yeah. Find one. And pass in the genre. Well, let's see. Get all the books. Excellent. Find all, and you're going to use the where inside your
Where?
Okay. What about the next one? Author. Get all books for a specific author. Again, same thing. Find all, and then use the where clause. Okay. Long books. To get all. So again, find all with your where clause. Okay. Last one, same thing. Find all with your where clause. And what about the last one? Last one? Create. Okay?
Destroy. Let's do that one. Can we destroy something?
There's a delete.
I want to destroy it.
Last one is destroy. It's not called delete, it's called destroy. Okay? So go ahead and start from the top and see how far you get. It will take like 15 minutes on this one. Start with creating your model first. And a model already kind of already has some hints over here, so this should be easy. String, pages, 4 things. 1, 2, 3, 4. So require the sequelize. Let's copy it from the previous exercise and then require your connection. And then just create this book. Sequelize.define. Okay. And then just put your property names. Title, author, genre, pages. Instance string, and integer. Title type is sequelize.string. Author is sequelize.string. Oh, sorry. No, no, no. Author, same thing, sequelize.string. Genre is the same thing. Copy paste this. Last one is a integer. It's called pages. So pages type sequelize.integer. Okay. I didn't add the null one. You can, if you want, you guys can go ahead and add it. I'm just following the instructions. They didn't mention anything about now. So title, author, genre, pages, free stable, same thing. Sync the database. So books, book dot sync, book dot sync. And then last part is go ahead and export dot module dot export is equal to book. Okay, very similar to the previous one, just creating a model. All right, same thing guys. Basically column names and creating a model. Next thing is HTML routes are good. Next thing is we need to fix our API routes. There's no package JSON has everything. Express, MySQL, SQLize. Nice. Alright, let's see. So create database. We're going to create updated modify connection.database. Did the models. Next thing is API routes. So let's go back here. API routes. And we'll start from the top. Any question on the model? Everybody understand how to create the model now? No? You said no. The model, the books one? Models, books, this is what I created. Yes, ma'am.
When you find type, you put in SQLize.
Yeah.
Is there other stuff that could go there?
Yes. Yeah. Look at the documentation. They have like 10 or 20 different types of. No, this is sequels. Huh? Oh, these are two different. This sequelize, the lowercase is our connection. I'm just importing a connection into this. You can call it sequelize connection. This is the real one. This is where the string and these things are coming from. Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow, look at that. Yeah. No. No. I don't think there's anything. There's just string. You can? In the string?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Yeah, length number. So you can do 255 here.
250. This is spicy.
This.
254.
No, don't do that.
254.
Don't ever do that.
Yes.
That's true. That's why it stops at 255. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Kyle.
One question.
Yes.
Because we are typing them here for the model, that type carries forward.
Repeat your question. I didn't understand.
So we're typing the value of title to be a string.
Yes.
So if we use title anywhere else, in our
Book dot title.
yeah,
Okay.
in other routes or whatever,
Okay.
we're going to validate the string the integer. Does that make sense?
So how would I refer? We'll come to why would I refer book dot title, but you are saying basically somewhere in the route we are going to say book dot title, and then what?
You assign the value to book that title some value.
Okay.
So because we're using this model, are we typing earlier on the are we
Strongly title.
yeah.
Yes.
So book that title should be the string versus integer.
Right, right. So again, the same rules that are in MySQL applies. If you pass in a string in an integer column, it contains, it's exactly the same thing. Because you see, if you look at when you run this, you see that it generates a query, right? Behind the scene, it's going to say, hey, insert title where value is equal to, let's suppose you're trying pages is equal to, it's expecting a number, you try to insert a string into the SQL, MySQL is going to throw that. In a string case, the number might still work, but the opposite is definitely not true. You cannot put a string in a number column. Yeah. So it's the same MySQL rules apply over here. Because behind the scene, it's still running the same query that we can write ourselves. All right, so our models are done. Now we can move on to our API routes. As SQLize code to get all the books and return them as JSON. So I'm going to call this books, change my route name, and then just do book.findAll. Book.findAll dot then. Okay. I need to get all the books, so I don't have to worry about that. And then in my returns results response.json results. All right, the first one is easy. Books.findAll.then, get all the results, send it back. Okay. Next one is specific book. Again, I'm going to follow good practices and actually call my route slash books and then an ID. Well, not an ID, a book name. Okay. So we're going to use find one. So book dot find one parentheses dot then. Okay. This is going to be the same as this one, so I'm just going to copy the results. Okay. And this one empty. Where, and what was my model called? Title. Excellent. So where title is equal to what? Excellent. Rec dot params dot book. Okay. Right.
So, quick question on that. So that's just if they're looking for a specific title, correct? So if they're looking for, I guess I was just talking again, but then never mind.
Good.
Yeah, I was just thinking about if you could search for that, we're obviously doing that, and then I could do a list of that, of each one of those,
Yes.
like that genre and that author versus
Right.
find.
Right. So in this case, we are looking for one book,
Yeah.
but this case we are doing multiple, so we cannot use find one. So we'll have to use find all with a where clause. Yeah. Let's look at this route. I don't like this route too. What is this? API genre. It should be books, and then this pass in a genre. Yeah, what's wrong with this one? Oh, I see why. Because these kind of become the same. Let's see why I didn't genre. So books genre. Let's do this. This one. So if I just do books and a genre, when you're calling it, they both are string, but your API doesn't know. It cannot differentiate between the values. For it, API slash books are string and API slash books another string. They both are same, so you'll get an error. It wouldn't know which one to call. So that's why it's called genre over there. Okay, I see why they named it genre. Do I still want to call it? Let me go with this name. Alright. Book dot find all. Okay. Dot then is going to be same. I'm going to get the results back and then basically pass everything back. I find all changes with my where clause. Okay. Where, not while, where genre is equal to request dot grams dot genre. Okay. Any questions so far? Everybody understanding what's going on? We are just using the same method, just changing our queries. Again, it's pretty fast. I mean, you can just, the next one, I think I can just copy paste this thing and change a bit, and this should work too. So API slash author, and then this time you're passing an author, and then this will change to author, and then from the front end, hopefully I'm passing in as author. We'll take a look at that. Okay, same thing. This time instead of genre, I just change it to author. So next one, slash book slash long. Yeah, this name is fine. Get all the long books where 150 pages and return them as JSON. Okay. All. So I still need the find all. So I'm going to copy the same thing and then change this a bit. So my where clause is going to change. And then everything else should be the same. So instead of this, I'm looking for pages which are greater than 150. How do I do this? Somebody looked at a documentation, found out how to do this?
It was something I saw it. It was so many pages.
Something what?
Because it was something that where you set it where it's like between this and between that.
Yes. What is that? Quickly find and let me know.
I was reading a lot of stuff.
Anybody else? How do you add a condition?
Yeah.
I don't.
I was just thinking about the previous.
Good part about this is you don't have to think. You can search the documentation and find out. Let's see. Querying. Operator. Yes. What else? Yes. Oh, greater than 150. Yes. Op dot. But I need to include this, right? Op, what is this? So sequelize dot op dot something, basically, right? So let's try this. Do I have the instant of sequelize on my? No, I don't have that. Okay, so I need to include the sequelize dot op. So I need to require this thing, right? I won't be able to use sequelize then. Okay. All right. Okay, now we can go ahead. Okay, so sequelize dot op dot doesn't really show anything. Sequelize dot op dot gt greater than dot greater than, and then what is it? Okay. Am I doing this right? Why am I getting this error? Oh, that's the issue. That's okay. Thank you. So let's try this again. Dot. Nope. Still no. Well, I should be able to do. I can declare this, but I don't think it changes anything. I'm just using this directly. So you're assigning this and then using this. So do we have example? Oh, like this. So both has to be an array. Okay. So this is an array. Okay. And then my value is also an array, or I can just do this. Okay. This should be good then, right? Right? All right. Excellent. See, we figured it out from the documentation.
Why did they do?
They're saying there it says in the instruction. So one. Oh yeah, it says more than. so we don't need the equal. Yeah. Okay. All right. Short is same thing. And this time it's dot lt. Oh, now it shows up. 150 or less, so lte. All right. Right. The next one is create. I'm just going to copy this and then change this a bit. Book, post, and create. Okay, same thing, nothing different from our previous exercises. Just change the things that are being passed in. Right. Let's do the last one really quickly. Destroy. So what? How do I do destroy? Book dot destroy. There it is. Dot destroy. Dot then and then would be same as this one. Copy this. Instead of this, let's just end this and don't have to send anything back. Status. Keep it short for now. Okay. So I'm trying to destroy. Same thing as get. This time, just use the where clause. Where id is equal to request dot params dot id and should have stubbed it out before. Okay. Right, and that should be it. Everybody got it? Questions? Kind of. You see, all the routes were kind of similar. Which one did you? What happened, Ali?
Sorry, why is it API slash book instead of the
Instead,
it is book.
instead of what?
Just like you know how this what's the name of the not the well anyway, it's like the other ones, the other routes that they started with API slash books plural, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot.
And then so that's all it was.
Yeah. Again, this is the exercise, and whoever wrote when you see the solution, that's how I did it. But I would, if I was doing this, I would name exactly like this that I did, because that's kind of standard. Plural nouns with an ID and all that stuff. Kind of get into the habit of it. Even if you see the solution, please go ahead and change it to what the standards are. Not a big deal. Okay. If you change it, then go back to your public folder. You'll have to update your jQuery code, right, to use the new APIs. Okay. Any other questions? Did we get it? So we saw find all, find one, and destroy. The only destroy and create. The only one is remaining update, and you guys will see that in the next one. It's same as find one, no difference. Okay. Questions? All right. One last thing. We'll do this in 10 minutes, and that should be it. Let's go to our this thing. So in your GitLab, there is in your exercises and your supplemental, you'll see some guides. Please go through these. These are kind of explaining the process and all that stuff. But this last one, I want to go. Okay, yeah, this one. All right, so Sequelize package. There's another Node.js package called Sequelize CLI. What does CLI mean? Command line interface. Excellent. So this means that I can run Sequelize from my command line. All right. npm install -g. Ivana, do you remember what -g is doing? Global.
Oh, good answer, Ivana. I wouldn't.
All right. Global install. Why global? Again, because we can use it from our terminal. All right. So this package allows you to create your connection, your packages, and all that stuff. You know, all this code that we have been writing. Well, not all of them. It kind of helps you create the models also, but we are not going to create model using the CLI. It will help you create your connection, and it will put some code that you don't have to go ahead and keep creating your connections. Okay, so again, what I mean is that this tool comes with Sequelize, and it helps you create some of the code, like configuration, your models, but don't use models for this, mainly your configuration. Okay, and few more stuff, we'll look at that in the next class. But let me show you how this works. And the guide is there, and you can follow step by step, and it works exactly how it says over here. Right, so the first thing is do a npm install -g important so that you can use in your terminal. Let me open an exercise here and see. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to run this and create my what we tend to call like boilerplate code using the CLI. Okay, so package JSON has my all these things, so that's good. This is good. I don't have any config. I don't have anything. So the first thing you would do is install npm install. All right. This is the unsolved one. The next exercise, and we can do it together. This will install the packages, and then you have to do npm install -g sequelize CLI. Okay. So go ahead and do that. I already did it, so if I type in sequelize-CLI, oh, that's not what it is. What's the command? Just sequelize. Okay. Sequelize. If I type in sequelize, you will see it shows me. This is the message that I get. This means it's installed and it's giving me options what I want to do. Right? It will create all this stuff for me without me creating it manually. It can create config. It can create models. It can create your connection. Basic like a template. So let's see what this is saying. So let's try this. Sequelize init config and sequelize init models. So it is going to create config and it's going to create models for me. Okay. So let's go ahead and do sequelize init config and sequelize init models. Okay, so it should be in this folder because this is where it's going to create. So you will see some folders pop up, your config and model folder. Remember the previous exercise we were creating it manually. If you're using the CLI, it helps. It kind of gives you a template and then you can go ahead and modify this. So if you look at config.json, oops, you can see it. It has all your database that we were putting in manually. So it kind of gives you a template. Now, you see development, test, and production. If we are running at localhost, then we need to worry about deployment. This is what we can modify. So it's over here, I can modify a bit my password, put my other database name. Let's see, what do I? So this will create a new database and then push it in my local. Okay, so I didn't have to do this. Kind of comes up with JSON file. All right. The next thing is, let's look at our models.
So put them all, because I was in the other folder, so I just kind of jammed them all in there, but I still see it.
Right. So if you open up your models file, again, this is all boilerplate code that SQLize is using. You don't have to understand everything, but basically it is saying that it will help you create your models. Okay. So this all code is generated by SQLize. Okay. So let's look at the documentation. It says we'll create a model for a user. Okay, so module.exports do this and then do this. So in our models, go ahead and create a user.js. Is that what it is? And I wish I could copy this. They're gonna make me type the whole thing. So, oh, maybe I have it here. Hold on. Okay. All right. So from over here, what is going on? Function SQLize data types. You're passing in some data types, and then it goes there. The line number 2 to 5 is same as we have been doing, right? Everybody recognizes line number 2 to 6. All right. The only addition is the SQLize function, and this is required. Why? Your index.js has a function. It kind of looks for it, right? It looks inside your models folder, finds the file, and says, "Oh, this is going to be a model," and then passes these two things in and kind of makes your model. Okay, again, you need this because your index.js, which was automatically created when we use our SQLize, all right, it is going to look inside your models folder, and then it's going to find a model, and then it's going to call this, and it's going to create this for you. Okay, again, this is being called from your index.js somewhere. Again, we don't have to worry about index.js, but what we have to understand is if you're creating a model using the CLI, this is the syntax. And the only difference in the syntax is lines number 1 and 8. 1 is you are making it a function, you are passing in two things, SQLize and data types. And in line number 8, you are returning the user, the whatever model you are creating. Okay, again, this is only required if you're using SQLize CLI to create your models. Okay?
So you can change them. I mean, if you just do that quickly so you can have some stuff.
Yes. Yes. This is required so that we can quickly create our config, and you can keep creating manually. There's no problem with that. But this is if you want to quickly get up and running.
Yeah.
All right. The last part they're saying is look at server.js. So let's take a look at this. And
is this always, I mean, it seems like you're always using Express.
yes, because that's our Node.js server. Where would you run all this code?
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. Okay, so let's look at this. We can copy paste this, but line number 7, again, DB line number 2 is importing all the models. All right, it's importing everything from your models folder, and then it is saying, remember the sync part. All right, if you are doing SQLize CLI, this is the code you need. So db.sqlize.sync.then. This means why is my app.listen inside my sync method? Excellent. Because it's an async function. So I'm saying that please go ahead and create the database first, then go ahead and start your Express. Do not start your Express server until my database is created. That's why it is inside your then function. Once this is successful, then only it's going to go ahead and start your Express server. All right, this is how you make sure. Okay, so go ahead and instead of this, you can copy what the documentation says. Again, now this time it's going to go ahead, synchronize your database. Once it is successful, then it will go ahead and create your start your Express server. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else I need to do. Apparently I do. Okay, so I didn't import my var db models. Copy this. Okay. Unknown database. I just need to create a database. I'm trying to find which one is easy. Maybe this one. All right. What's the query? Quickly create database CLI example. That's it. No.
Oh yeah, you're gonna push everything.
Yeah, I don't need use or anything. Why is it giving me red lines? What dash? No. That shouldn't matter. I am getting there.
Now have a dash. Have a dash.
Which one is what? Okay. Let's go ahead and update my config. I think I was using this. All right, there it is. All right. So again, it's in your supplemental folder. Please go ahead and check this documentation out.
So when it works, it shows you all.
Yes, it shows that because I'm creating a table.
Okay. So that's what I was having. I don't know.
All right. So I'm not here on Saturday. I'll see you guys.
We FaceTime you? Can we talk to you?